Okay, so the only reason I'm reviewing this toy here is because this gives me a chance to create a Hero Factory playlist so I can add Voltix to it rather than adding Voltix to the other playlist, even though I have more Hero Factory sets I would like to review. But I'm going to start with the Evo 2.0, released in the early months of 2011 during the kind of like Subline Part 2 Ordeal of Fire. This was a very pivotal, that's not a real word, pivotal moment in LEGO and Hero Factory because it was the very first time we saw the CCBS building system right here. What you see right here was brand new in 2011. No one had ever seen anything like this in LEGO. It was a system that pretty much, taking apart, there's like an inner skeleton, as you can see, and everything's based on ball and socket connection. So you have for the limbs, obviously, but also for the armor, you know. So there's like a skeleton that all kind of connects, you know. This would be like the basic building system for LEGO characters or LEGO construction up until now. I'm pretty sure they still use this today. So this was really cool, and it starts with the Hero Factory wave of heroes, the quote-unquote upgrades as they were in the canon. Evo was one of the new, or there were two. Evo and I believe Nex was his name. Again, it's been a while, but this was the first Hero Factory set I ever owned, and so I got him when he was brand new. When I was a little kid, I still have him. So Evo, this is weird because he's called Evo 2.0, even though there really was never an Evo 1.0. At least not in Hero Factory, by the way. Because I don't know, it's called 2.0 to get the new system out. Because like once they upgraded like Furno and Preston Stormer and Surge and all that, they named them 2.0 as well. But this also was revolutionary because it kind of broke the mold in a way that Hero Factory in the first line, in the first wave, kind of followed in the shadows of Bionicle, with the tradition of having six main good guys, each one of a different color, like one red, one blue, one green, one white, one black, and one brown, or really at the time it was more like a gunmetal gray. But Evo and Nex came in and it's like, hey man, we're gonna have more. So we had a yellow one and an orange one. And then 3.0 came out and we introduced Taraka, the gold one. So yeah, it kind of broke that stereotype. It was like, we have to have 6 of them now. Help differentiate Hero Factory from it as its own thing and not just the successor to Bionicle. So I guess we'll get into the actual set here. I guess we'll start with his head. Zoom in here. This was the new head sculpt. It's made of 3 components. So basically you got take it apart. This was at the time the brand new under head, kind of skeleton head, main base head that was CCBS introduced, or at least for the heroes. The villains all used they were still using the Glatorian heads, but looks pretty nice. Kind of have a weird smile in there. It kind of looks like the Motunui robot. It's kind of got that Mask of Life look to it. They were still incorporating some Bionicle in there as well. That's really cool. And so for this wave, there were 3 main parts. So you got that, I can separate them. You got like the top helmet part that went on top, but not by itself. There was something eaten, and there was this part. This part was unique to each one. Evo's was a weird Darth Vader looking vent thing. I don't know, but it goes on top there. Then you add the helmet. Voila. Now you have Evo all prepared up to fight bad guys, like the Fire Lord, or I think the other thing was Drill Dozer or something. And we have the brand new Hero Core, which was smaller. Yeah, that's the thing about the Hero Cores. They got smaller, which I didn't like, but it's basically plugs right into here using the ports. And then this thing, it was a 3 layered system. So this was the underside, this piece went on top using these pegs, and then this came on using a peg there. So there you go. And then there's some other detailing too, like you got your typical armor pieces that are now standard with CCBS, and then you have this one that on his leg it reads Evo 2.0 with some cool textures, or not textures, graphics, and I cannot read that. Let me see, I'm trying to read it on camera, or off camera. No, it is completely illegible, so yeah. All of the heroes had this from this line. I don't know what the others looked like, but they all had this, and so Evo has it on his leg. The kind of unique, customized armor plate that's just for that one, you know. Excuse me. Another thing that all the heroes had was kind of like a, well, I guess not all of them, because I think Surge and Breeze didn't have anyone, but what they have is either one fist. This was basically the same type of fist as the Bionicle Glatorian fist, but this time there's, if you go back and look, the Glatorian fists had 3 fingers. This one has 4, and then a thumb there, so it's more, I guess, anatomically correct to a human. But they all had these big weapons that utilized this specific piece here, this kind of shield piece, and they all use it different ways. By the way, there's no extra hand. In order to make this piece, they have to use a traditional connector, which kind of sucks. So it kind of breaks up the mold, but hey, it's what you gotta do. It's what you gotta do. So anyway, you would basically connect a bunch of pieces together. Now everyone's looked somewhat different, but Evo's here was kind of like this weird spike shooter. I don't think it shoots anything. I think in the commercials it like shoots ice, but in the actual TV show and canon it does something else. I'm not sure, but it's kind of like a big shield, you know. And by the way, these spikes, they're flimsy rubber, so you don't poke your eye out, which I don't mind. I'm not getting, I mean, so it's whatever, it's fine. But, you know, yeah, there's that. In terms of articulation, it's very good. Everything's ball jointed, so you got the head on a neck, you can go wherever it wants. Arms, they're all good. Elbows, they're ball joint connected, but they can kind of look around, but they're really meant for swivel. So you got really nice, depending on how big the armor is. Like the armor on this arm is a pretty big piece with a cool little spike coming out. So it only goes up about that much. But this one, since the armor piece is much smaller to compensate for the big shield, you get a little more range of motion. Plus the shield too is on a separate wrist hinge, so it kind of go wherever it wants. No waist, legs, you know, they can go all the way. Knee bend, pretty much. Then again, depending on the size of the armor plate attached to it. And then, you know, ankle, go over it once. So this was a very, the CCBS system was very good for posability and making a unique, not unique, but kind of united look, one central kind of look that all Lego Hero Factory and even Bionicle 2.0 would have, and other sets too. Like they made buildable Star Wars characters and sets and whatnot. I think that's all there is to Evo 2.0. He's a really nice one. I will admit, I will say one thing, that if you're gonna get only one of the I guess line 2 or Ordeal Fire heroes, get Evo. Evo 2.0 is the one to get, because the other ones I noticed, he looks like out of all of them, he looks the most armored. Out of all of them, some of the other ones will have like weird oddities, like with their armor. Like for example, I can't remember, but I think it was either Stormer or Furno that just like didn't have an armor plate on their arm, so they would just walk around with a shield looking like that. It's really weird. Thankfully, Evo doesn't do any of that, and all his armor is properly where it should go. Another one thing I will mention that's kind of a con is that, one, the build is pretty simplistic. I will admit, if you're looking for something really fun and riveting, this is not a very complicated build. It's very simple, very easy. You can look at it right now and tell how it goes, but CCBS was brand new, so they weren't going to dive right head first into the 2015 Masters or anything. But if you look at the back, sometimes a negative to this kind of like ball and socket connection is that the back will be very open. Again, at the time this came out, this system was brand new, so they were still kind of working out the kinks with it. By the time you get to Breakout, they fixed this a lot of times, and by the time you get to like the 2015 Bionicle sets, and even before that with like Brain Attack in Hero Factory, they were fixing it, and it looks way better now. But at the time, yeah, this was kind of a flaw. But you know, you don't display it from the back. You display it from the front, because he's a real hero, you know? So, this is basically my review of, get a good pose for the thumbnail, of Evo 2.0. Get this set, or don't. I mean, it's more of a fun little trip down memory lane. Not necessarily a necessity unless you're a huge fan of the Breakout, or not Breakout, but Hero Factory line, which I think Hero Factory is underrated. I think it deserves credit, even though obviously Bionicle was superior. But yeah, if you are a fan, get him definitely. And if you're just kind of mildly in Hero Factory, I definitely recommend getting Evo as just like your one standard hero, because he kind of was the definitive one, in my opinion, for the Ordeal of Fire line. And he goes perfectly with the other team and against the the fire villains of that wave, certainly, without a doubt.